Hello everyone, my name is Beckett and welcome back to the channel. And we got another Division 2 build for you guys today, and I'm going to be showing you off an Eclipse protocol build. Nothing too fancy, just something to get you started, something to build that framework so you can experiment and put your own unique spin on it. And if you've never played the Eclipse protocol, it is a crazy massive dot damage build, and you pretty much spread fire and dots to everything in the room. It's quite fun, and it's just awesome to see those status effects going everywhere. So before we get into the build, if you enjoy the content, hit that subscribe, and if you like the video, smash that like button. We're a small channel, but we are growing fast. Now let's get into the playstyle. This is a very passive build, and if you're used to a very aggressive run and gun build, it might not be for you, but I suggest just give it a try because you might actually have a lot of fun, and I quite enjoy it because I'm a run and gun guy, and usually I always go for the SMGs, ARs, but I've really started messing around with status effects and skill damage builds, and I have been enjoying myself so much and has increased the longevity of this game. So like I said, we're going to be very passive. We're going to be sitting in the back, launching off our chem launcher, throwing out our hive, making sure we have our bleeds, our dots up, and then when we have all that stuff up, we're going to pull out pestilence and start putting that dot on. We do not care about the damage from LMG. We are just spreading those dots, and as soon as we get a kill from those dots, we don't actually want to kill with bullets or any other kind of skill damage. We want the dot to kill it, and as soon as that dot kills it, it's going to spread throughout the whole room. And not only that, we're going to be pumping it up with all the status effects we're going to be putting into this build, as well as the exotic vial. And if you don't know what that is, every time you put a status effect on an enemy, it adds a little dot. Our main priority throughout the whole time of playing this build is just keep those dots up. That's all that matters. Everything else, it doesn't matter. Just keep the dots up. Make sure our dots are killing something so they are spreading throughout the whole room, because the range with the set bonuses and we have the vial and everything else going on is insane. The amount of damage that we are putting out puts shame to a lot of builds. Now let's get into the build. First thing is specialization. We are going to be running Firewall really only for one reason, and you do not need to put that many points into it. So if you don't have it leveled out, this is going to be really good for you. We're just going to want the burn duration. That is 20% extra status effects on all our burn damage. And we want the armor break talent. Basically, anyone within 5 meters of us, when our armor breaks, catch on fire. It's nice if we get rushed and our armor breaks. Now over to weapons. So for the weapon, we are going to be using Pestilence, and we're going to be using it for its main talent that adds a dot. So hits apply a debuff dealing 100% weapon damage over 10 seconds. This stacks up to 50 times. Although we don't have that high of weapon damage, our status effects are so high that the dot on that is just trucking. And as soon as it starts spreading, it gets quite insane. We are going to kind of be using this as a fire starter. So after we use our chem launcher, we're going to be shooting through that little gas cloud, lighting everything on fire. And whenever an enemy dies, all stacks are transferred to a nearby enemy. So we're spreading. We are the coronavirus. Now when it comes to a secondary, it doesn't really matter. I found that I generally don't have that much time to switch over to one. If you were, I would run Pyromaniac, just because you do all that extra weapon damage to enemies on fire. Other than that, don't worry about it. Just focus on keeping those dots up from your pestilence and from your skills. Now let's hop over to the gear. First thing that really makes this build pop is the vial. Now this came out in season 3, so if you were playing around season 3 and you did your whole season pass, you should have this exotic. If not, you can get it out in the open world. It comes with 10% status effects, which is amazing. Can't really complain. And the talent is status effects also apply a damage over time debuff for 10 seconds. Total damage dealt is equal to 50% of your concussion grenade. And I think our grenades are like 1.5 million or something. So that's a lot of damage going out. And it is also increased by your status effects attribute. We're also going to want one piece of golden gear because it comes with 10% status effects, and we're going to want to hunt for one until we find one that rolls with a pretty decent status effects roll, so we can roll to skill tier. Now, if you don't have that and you're just not having good luck, you can also go for Firm Handshake. It is a Sokolov named item, and out the bat it comes with 15% status effects. It's not 20%, it's an easy fix, and it always rolls with that status effects, so it doesn't really matter. Just re-roll the weapon damage to a skill tier and you will be good to go. Now for the Eclipse protocol, we are going to want to be running the 4-piece with the chest and the backpack. And the 4-piece does is your status effects now spread on kill to all enemies within 10 meters and refresh to a 50% duration. So that means if you burn somebody with your chem launcher and then it killed them and it spread it to another enemy, that burn duration will be cut in half, and that is huge. That is so much free damage going out. Not only that, but the backpack talent amplifies all damage you deal to status effects targets by 30%. This is not a flat 30% increase in damage. This is more than that because it is an extra multiplier on top of all the damage you can do. I don't care what high-end name backpack, the Anarchist Cookbook, whatever you have, it is not going to compete. I've done the testing and I am getting about 20k a tick extra off of just this backpack alone. We're also going to want the chest piece from Eclipse Protocol just for the talent. It increases indirect transmission range from 10 meters to 15 meters. It used to be 20 meters and it was just insane and would light the whole entire mission on fire. But now it's 15 meters and it's still overpowered, and it refreshes the percentage from a 50% duration to a 75% duration. So you're almost getting a full burn duration on all of the enemies that it spreads to. Now let's hop over the skills. So for skills, we are going to be using the chem launcher. This is our bread and butter. This is our go-to. We are going to be using Fire Starter just for the burn. It does more burn damage than any other skill with status effects. And we're also going to be using the Hive. Even though it does not do burn damage, it applies a bleed and it spreads a lot of damage really quick. We can throw it and forget about it, and we can just worry about our chem launcher and keeping our stacks of pestilence up. Now for the mods for the chem launcher, you're going to want the burn strength just because it increases each tick by like 11k, at least at my build at this current state of it. And you're going to want skill haste just so we can keep the chem launcher at least under 10 seconds is the idea, so we can always use it. We're not going to have to use it like on spam and on cooldown, but it's nice to have it. And when it comes to the Hive, just extra stinger charges. Now when it comes to stat wise, we're just going to want to prioritize status effects, and everything else will just go into skill haste if you have room, your mods, and if there's any other pieces of gear that you have that you can put skill haste into it. But if you can put status effects, put status effects on it. Now, not everything can be sunshine and roses, so let's get into the good and the bad. Now, this build excels extremely well in group play, and you can really see it. And it does well in solo play, but you can really see its flaws shine through when you're playing solo content like checkpoints and stuff. Using a chem launcher and trying to hit the enemy with the gas, pull out your gun and shoot them, a lot of times they just jump out of the way, and it's hard and it's difficult, and there's just much better skill builds. You can go with a turret build, you can do a lot of things, you can do a run and gun, but it's just not made for checkpoints and solo play that much. Now in mission solo, that's a whole different story. You can solo no problem, you just pop off a fire and it lights the whole room on fire. But open world, there's so many variables and so many people can come from different directions. In a mission, you know where they're coming from. Usually you know where the spawns are, so you know where to put your dots, you know where to put everything. Now, how do I explain this build? You are a warlock. If you ever play World of Warcraft, you just spread dots to the whole room and do everything. But you're not as powerful as a warlock in World of Warcraft. You can't tank a million damage like nothing. If something gets close to you, you are gonna struggle, and you need to keep that distance, get away, kite away, keep that distance from you. That's why group play works so well with this. You can just do your thing. Now, when playing this, you just need to remember, keep those dots up all the time. And if you're struggling keeping those dots up, the easiest way to do this in a simple rotation is throw your Hive out, throw your chem launcher out, your gas, and pull out your pestilence, and just start railing on someone with a pestilence till they're just about to die, and then the spreading will happen. And it's kind of a rinse and repeat. When your dots are starting to fall off, start doing that again. But you also have a chem launcher with 4 or 5 rounds in it, so if you see them coming out from a different entrance, don't just tunnel vision on one target, because we are trying to keep the whole mission on fire. So make sure you're spreading out. We are going to be so far back. You have a great viewpoint, so use it to your advantage. I hope this build helped, and I will see you guys next time. And let me know how it went. Are you enjoying the build, or are you going back to run and gun? I don't blame you. It's not for everyone, but I do enjoy this burn build, and it's quite fun.